double overtime last night to the defending champs Oklahoma City Thunder on Banner Night, and the Golden State Warriors took down the Lakers in LA despite Luka Doncic having 43 points. Jimmy Butler had a big night with 31 himself. Two of the biggest games going on today in the association. The Cavs will be taking on the other Eastern Conference favorites in the New York Knicks. Cleveland is currently a 1.5 point favorite on the road after the Karl Anthony Towns news. And then the exciting one, Spurs Mavericks battle of a couple of the last top picks, and Victor Wembanyama and Cooper Flag. That game is at 6:30. Dallas is currently a 2.5 point home favorite. Swapping out your tires, there's nothing like it. With eBay, you find the feel you're looking for, from smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay, things people love.
Oh, yeah. Let's get it going on a Wednesday. What's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. The NBA got going last night. We got a Thursday night football matchup tomorrow between the Chargers and the Vikings. Should be a good one. College football getting ready for this weekend. San Diego State, Fresno State, the battle for the old oil can. Come on now. It's going to be a fun day on the show today, mainly because of one word and one word only: profit. That's exactly what we made last night. Baby. How about it? Long Shots was a winner, a 4-legger, putting $100 in my pocket. Well done, Sammy Long. Hopefully a lot of our listeners were following suit with
Tyler said, let's go, Sammy. Squad Ride W.
Squad Ride W's, baby. We got another one coming up for you at 12:45. If you don't know, Long Shots is Sammy Long putting together a daily fantasy sports lineup. We use Prize Picks. You could use whatever you want. But Sammy creates a lineup, and sometimes it wins. Last night, it won. So what made you... Did it help at all that you won Long Shots watching your Lakers get their ass kicked by the Golden State Warriors?
Last night was very frustrating as a Laker fan.
Luka looked great.
Well, that's what was more frustrating, is that Luka has 43 damn points with 12 rebounds. And if you told anyone before the game, you're going, oh, wow, like that's exactly what you need. There was no help from anyone else on the roster. At the end of the game, I'm happy Austin Reeves kind of backdoor covered it, because he was who we needed to cash the parlay. Now he was very bad for the first 3 quarters.
Are you a we guy?
I said we for our lineup.
Oh, I thought you meant we for your Lakers.
No, I said we. I said we needed Austin Reeves to backdoor cash our lineup. But yeah, it was very happy we won. Lakers very frustrating outing. They got to get Luka some help, because that was pretty pathetic last night.
Well, start working now, Sammy, because now that we got a little bit of a bankroll, we need another winner to cash out a little bit. Or if you're playing that strategy in Vegas, that's what I like to do. Speaking of Vegas, I am heading out there tomorrow. I will be doing this show, as well as portions of John and Jim from Las Vegas tomorrow for the Mountain West Media Days, for the basketball conference, I guess. Mountain West Basketball Media Days are tomorrow. I'll be talking with Brian Dutcher, Miles Bird, little Reese Waters action, as well as some other faces and names around the Mountain West as we get going. But I'm heading out to Resorts World tonight. Now, Sammy, I have never once complained about said airline that shall not be named.
Are you talking about the one that runs all the commercials about how they're going to assign seating here soon?
That's the one. I've been delayed 4 times as of so far today.
Well, that's what you get when you fly that airline.
So instead of getting into Vegas around 8 o'clock tonight and, having a nice dinner and maybe hitting some tables before I head to bed, I don't think I'm getting into like 11:30 midnight tonight.
Well, thankfully, you're in a city that literally never sleeps. So the city doesn't really get going till 10 o'clock at night. So it's nice that you're in a city where there's not really a bedtime.
I can't believe these words are about to leave my mouth. I don't think I'm going to gamble on this trip.
What's going on?
If I'm seriously trying to do the math in my head. I don't know that I'm going to have time, Sammy, because
there is time.
I wake up tomorrow morning. I'll have to be set up down in the convention center by 8 o'clock. And then I'll do a full day's worth of work, recording interviews, talking to people. And then as soon as I'm done, I think I'm heading to the airport to get out.
Well, hold on. You should gamble tonight when you get in, drop your bags off. Still exciting from the buzz of the city. Go down the tables, play a little craps, play a little blackjack, get on a little bit of a heater. Then if you're winning, you're already going to be getting up early for Big Rich, City, and Fletch in the morning. You're already predisposed to be getting up at 6 a.m.
So start gambling at 6 a.m.
There's nothing wrong with that. I saw a dude. I got in from Vegas last Saturday, in from being out at 6 a.m. And there was a guy at the tables that had clearly just gotten up. He was by himself. Looked like he was doing very well.
Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe in the morning it's edge over to the players, not so much the banker.
Yeah, the dealers are tired. Maybe they just,
We'll see. I honestly don't think I'm going to, but there is going to be lots of great content coming out of Las Vegas over the next 24 hours.
Dutch
so
is definitely hitting the tables.
You think Dutch is going to be a fiend at the blackjack table?
I definitely think so. He's not going to waste the Vegas trip like that.
If I see him, I'll run up and try to just take the chair right next to him and see how that works. We'll see. I probably am going to end up gambling. I'm a degenerate. I already pulled out cash for it. So
yeah, I mean, come on, dude. You got to gamble a little bit.
If it's your first time listening to the show, my name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. We do this show every day from noon to 2. We do love talking about gambling. I don't think it's something we need to hide from. It's something that we call investing, which Sammy, we invested $10 in him last night. We won $100. So if you want to have fun with those conversations, stick around. We also talk tons of sports, Aztecs, NFL, baseball, World Series getting going on Friday. We'll talk a ton of NBA this year as well. Last night in the NBA, I was actually really impressed with what I saw in game 1. You talk about the right tone setter of the season. Those were the two right teams to have it because the Rockets play this real fierce style of defense where they're so overly aggressive. KD actually looked pretty good, at least in the first half of this game. And then the Thunder are so talented and have so many pieces on their team. SGA had a great night. What did he end up with? 35 points.
35 for SGA.
And the game goes to double overtime. It's competitive. The crowd was crazy into it on banner night. And then the second game happened. And while, yeah, it's cool watching Steph Curry do Steph Curry things, Jimmy Butler just shooting free throws all night long. The second game lacked a little bit. And I don't know if it was because LeBron wasn't there. The Lakers seemed a little out of it. But Luka's fun to watch. Steph Curry's fun to watch. That game, not very fun to watch. And I don't know how you can compute the two of those things because everything would make it seem like that should be a great game to watch. But it lost me pretty quickly, Sammy.
Well, you could tell that the Warriors had played together and were a cohesive bunch.
Even Kuminga looked like he fit in.
Kuminga looked fantastic. That's who grew the lead in the third. The Lakers looked extremely disjointed. The Lakers looked like Luka was skinny, driving in the paint. That's going to be fantastic this year. Austin Reeves was not aggressive in the first half, and that's unacceptable. With LeBron out, Austin Reeves has to go to being a number 2 star, and he certainly wasn't last night. Marcus Smart looked good. One of the new acquisitions. Jake LaRavia got it going a little bit in the second half. DeAndre Ayton, though, another guy that was very disappointing in his first game. 7 shots. I mean, 7 shots with LeBron out. DeAndre Ayton needs to be in the 12, 13, 14 shot range. That was disappointing. And I think another part of it last night's game, why the Lakers looked so disjointed, they missed a ton of free throws. They lost by 10. I believe they missed like 10 free throws, something like that. And JJ Redick kept talking about the third quarter woes. He also didn't make adjustments. Like, where is Gabe Vincent guarding Jimmy Butler was not working from the get-go. And yet JJ Redick, it took him over a half to figure out that wasn't happening, and then it was too late. I thought JJ Redick was way too stuck to his game plan, and he needs to kind of check his ego a little bit and watch the game and see what's going on. All
right, we got a couple comments here before we get to the big 3. Rich says Sammy knew SGA would suck in the first half too. Good call by Fletch on the veto. Saw the overtime coming. Well, SGA ended up hitting, didn't he?
Yeah, well, so I had the under originally. He was under during regulation, the double overtime he hit.
Oh, you had the under overall on the game. Oh, thank God we vetoed it.
I know, and it was going to be good until they went to overtime.
Our guy Jerry saying nice win, Sammy. So congratulations, Sammy. You made some people some money. Let's get to the big 3 here. Also, start getting your questions in now. Coming up at 1:30, Stan Lazinski, our fantasy football expert, is going to be answering all your start-sit questions for Week 8 in the NFL. Sammy, let's get to the big 3. Smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. It stays live from noon to 6. John and Jim take it over right after we get off the air. Text line 70470. Start your message with team. Twitter at Fletch and Sammy. Those are all the places you can ask fantasy football questions. You could also watch the show. Sammy, where are we starting with hour 1?
So it wouldn't be a Wednesday if there wasn't AJ Brown drama. Because it feels like we got this every week.
Pause. He had a great game last week.
Well, that's why everyone's confused. So AJ Brown, for those who didn't watch the game, had 4 catches for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now you think that would be enough for a star receiver, getting 2 touchdowns and over 120 yards receiving. He posts on Instagram on his story, quote, "They're using me, but not using me." Very ominous. This comes after multiple of these throughout the season so far. Is AJ Brown just becoming a locker room cancer? Do they need to get him off the team?
Social media ruins sports, I think, in a lot of ways, man. This is the wide receiver position in the NFL, unfortunately. Maybe he does want to trade. Maybe he's thinking along the lines of, oh, I put up a stink. You throw the ball to me a bunch one game, and then all of a sudden the next week, the game plan comes out on Tuesdays. and I'm not in it again. So I don't know what exactly is going through AJ Brown's head. I do think that the Eagles and Howie Roseman is an excellent general manager. He's very good at getting the most out of trades. So I think if the Eagles would like to, they could probably get a lot out of AJ Brown. You think about wide receiver needy teams across the NFL. There's a lot of them. The Chargers being the one in the forefront of my mind. You could probably get quite a bit for AJ Brown, and maybe it's just time to move on.
It's odd for a team that does have obviously Super Bowl aspirations. They won it last year and seem to get back on track against the Vikings, how much drama is going on in this locker room. And I think this goes back to, is Nick Sirianni a great head coach, or did he just invent a play that can't be stopped in the tush push? Because great, like Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, like great coaches in this league. Mike Tomlin didn't want to deal with George Pickens. And the George Pickens was extremely talented. And I'm sure Pittsburgh right now would be like, hey, a duo between Metcalf and Pickens would be phenomenal. They don't want to deal with the headache. Nick Sirianni, it feels like the players are just kind of running the whole thing, and Jalen Hurts seems like a good dude. Saquon Barkley seems like a good dude. AJ Brown, I mean, this is a problem every week. They're 5-2, and you would think that they've had one win on the season because AJ Brown complaining. I mean, when is it enough? You had 4 catches for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. You're basically calling out Jalen Hurts in the media. You're calling out the offensive coaching staff. This is, I think they should seriously look at trading him. If some team comes calling, especially in the AFC, I think the Chargers would be interesting. I think if you got a king's ransom, Devontae Smith could easily be the number 1 receiver. But, I mean, this has got to stop, or I think you got to get him out of town. Let's go to story number 2. Sticking with the NFL. So, interesting stuff between more drama. So, Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. I'll read what was happened. So Sean Payton basically said at the media, he said a ton of respect for the Giants organization, kind of yada, yada, yada. Said they found a little spark with that quarterback, talking about Jackson Dart. I was talking to John Mara not too long ago, and I said we were hoping that change would have happened long after our game. So Russell Wilson was obviously the starting quarterback before Jackson Dart. Russell Wilson responded, said he called it classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 plus years later through the media. What is your reaction to, it feels like the narrative around Russell Wilson has changed. Like this guy went from being one of the most beloved players in the NFL to his name kind of dragged through the mud between Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch, now Sean Payton. Whose side are you on this one?
Neither. I think they're both kind of ding-dongs. Now, Sean Payton is opening his mouth a lot this year as the Denver Broncos head coach. Remember, he was involved in some tush-push drama also. I don't think that this is the job of an NFL head coach to be talking, poorly about players who were in his organization, but also Russ is proving that he was extremely difficult to work with every stop along the way. I think in Seattle, you're looking at a Hall of Fame football player, a Super Bowl winner, was a coaching decision away from winning 2 Super Bowls. And then since then, remember the weird Subway commercials that he did right when he got to Denver?
Yeah.
It's spicy. Like Russ has done a pretty good job of tanking his name. I would defend Russ in this situation, though. Why the hell is Sean Payton talking about him? There's no need to. It's bizarre. And by the way, Jackson Dart played extremely well against the Broncos this year. That was that 33-32 game. It was close. And the Broncos or the Giants should have won that game. Can't believe they didn't. But if you're Sean Payton, why even bring this up? It's weird. This is an off-season podcast topic, not an in-season. Russell Wilson, who might be traded, kind of kicking the nuts, is what it seems like.
Well, you could have just complimented Jackson Dart. You could have just stopped, said he's a fantastic young player. He's going to have a big future in this league, and he lit up our defense, and our defense is one of the best in the NFL. That's all you had to say. Clearly, there's some animosity there between him and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, though, it is just funny how he really went from being a guy who, like, I think a lot of people rooted for. Like, I get you're a Niner fan. You weren't rooting for him in the Seattle days, but like he seemed like a guy that a lot of people kind of got around. And then Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch have kind of come out publicly and got after him a little bit.
I think Doug Baldwin too said something. Doug Baldwin was the leader of a lot of those Seahawks teams. So when he said something, it was like, whoa.
Like, this is just odd. Like, and certainly the Giants, you heard no teammates coming to his defense. Yeah, odd situation for there. And it just, I feel a little, I think Russell Wilson is washed. I think Sean Payton's right, but it feels a little out of bounds why Sean Payton is just taking shots at him in the media.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Sean Payton part of the group that paid him $80 million to come be the Broncos quarterback?
Right. So it's like, it's kind of on you as well. Like, if Russell Wilson's this bad, why didn't you scout that?
Or did Sean Payton inherit him? I'm not positive on the timeline of that.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. It might have been
Nathaniel Hackett, actually, who was the head coach of the Broncos.
Yeah, it was Hackett. It was Hackett because he was the first year. Remember they had the blunder in Seattle?
Right. Okay, so we were wrong about that.
Let's go back to the NBA real quick. So how concerned should Laker fans be without LeBron? Per Shams Charania, he's going to take his time coming back this season.
There's a couple different podcasters out there today too who I've seen videos now going where they're talking about his reactions and emotions during the game last night.
It was odd last night.
That he seemed very non-invested and he almost seemed like standoffish from everything. And they were pulling tape from years prior where LeBron's missed time and how engaged he is with players on the bench. And he's kind of being that coach on the bench as well as just being in street clothes. And last night he was very standoffish. Is there a chance LeBron doesn't play this year for the Lakers? Like, is that even a possibility at this point? Because if that's the case, the Lakers should be very, very concerned. Now, I do think LeBron might feel a little slighted here, and the Lakers are making the right decision by handing the keys over to Luka and for him to move on. However, with that, you are now dealing with LeBron James, who his entire career, who his entire life has been the number one on a team and been the guy that everything goes through. People call him a player GM for a reason because he was, and he has been for the last 2 decades. This year, LeBron has to take a back seat. How is he dealing with that? I think that's what last night was about. He's like, oh no, if this isn't my team, this is Luka's team. He can deal with the locker. He can deal with the huddle. I'm going to stay over here.
It was odd reaction last night, and I agree with everything you just said about it's the first time LeBron has not been the number one option on a team. I think LeBron will play for the Lakers this year, but if the Lakers record is bad, and I don't want to overreact, it's one night. I do think the Lakers will be a good team.
Well, it's one night and it's facial expressions,
right? But I do think you could. There will be drama. If the Lakers are struggling record around the NBA trade deadline, I think LeBron, you will start to hear rumors of him wanting out, considering this is probably one of his last seasons. But the Lakers, in the meantime, the defense was a problem last night. I think Jared Vanderbilt needs to be playing more, and it all comes down to Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves and DeAndre Ayton have to be better. Austin Reeves has to step up and play like a number 2 star. He's in a contract year. He should. But last night was not Austin Reeves' finest, and he needs to get it together if the Lakers are going to maintain a decent record until he comes back.
All right, get your fantasy football questions in 70470. Start your message with the word team. That's how you text the show. You can also leave us a talkback on the talkback mic on the free iHeartRadio app. Just listen to San Diego Sports 760. Find that little red microphone icon. Drop us a message, and we will ask our fantasy football expert, Stan Lazinski, coming up at 1:30 today. Stan's been money for us all year. He's been money for you all year, so get your questions ready. Quick break here. On the other side, we're going to tell you how you're going to win some Hallow Scream tickets, as well as get into a first look at Thursday night football this week between the Chargers and the Vikings. Should be a good one. That's next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. We got 13 chances for you to win $1,000 every single weekday with the bonus bucks giveaway every hour from 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Listen for the keyword, enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming up at 1 o'clock. We also have SeaWorld tickets to give away today. I think we're going to give away those tickets within the next 25 minutes. Before Long Shots comes out today, we will be giving away SeaWorld San Diego tickets for how low?
Scream!
Ah, yeah, baby.
See, the best thing about it is we're going to give away tickets. You could win that. And then we're going to give you a lineup that we're going to go on a streak. So you're making money and you're winning tickets. Like, why would you not tune in?
I like the sound of that. Sammy was a big winner last night. If you were following along with his Long Shots lineup, you also won last night. And good for you, and good for me, and good for Sammy. We all won some money last night. 760 says, truthfully, I think the Lakers trade LeBron to Cleveland.
That'd be interesting. It put him over the top.
858 Devontae Smith, wide receiver 1. Yeah, right. Eagles just got to let AJ Brown cry and whine, because when he does, they win and win big.
I do got to say one thing, though. Like, I get that. Like, if I'm an Eagles fan, I would probably be like, why are we trading our receiver, even though he's really good? But you wonder if you're in the mind of Jalen Hurts, are you going like, dude, shut the hell up?
I would be. And if you're Jalen Hurts, by the way, why aren't you a better leader to stomp this out?
Right. Like, why aren't you calling AJ Brown and going, cut this out? We won a Super Bowl last year. We're atop the NFC or one of the teams in contention. Like, why are you causing drama in a city where they're already hard on their team?
Well, and everybody has prickly ears in Philadelphia. This isn't just going to slide by. You know,
right.
it is an intense market. All right. 858 says, oh God, what's wrong with being a wee guy? I've never heard someone get called out for that before. It's maybe it's old school. I don't know. But it is a radio thing where Sammy's a huge fan of the Chiefs. I'm a huge fan of the 49ers. It is frowned upon among some of the older heads of radio to say we, as in I'm a Niners fan, we run the ball bad. Like, that would be frowned upon for me to say. So I thought Sammy was referring to the Chiefs as we.
I said we for our lineup.
Which I'm glad you did. And that is absolutely a we. We're all in this thing together. But we are not doing anything on the field to help the Chiefs win or help the Niners win. We got one of those in this building
from our couch.
We have one of those in this building who's awful about it. And every time I hear it,
who is that?
Nails on a chalkboard, dude. Someone else I work with on a daily basis. Let's just say that. It is we.
Does his name rhyme with Ravis Rail?
Well, it's not a he. So.
Oh, okay.
We
know who it is now.
About 9 different teams. I'm like, you can't possibly be this. What are we doing here? All right. Thursday night football this week. We got Chargers. We got Vikings. Any thought process at all at picking one of these teams for Circa Survivor?
No, I think the Chargers win, but
at SoFi, right?
At SoFi, but the Vikings are certainly good enough to pull an upset, and especially if we're thinking about taking the Chargers in Circa Survivor, they're on the road in Tennessee next week. So I'd much rather take the Chargers in that spot, despite them being on the road. This is a fun Thursday night football matchup. Like, I'm excited.
I wish JJ McCarthy was playing. Like, I've been having fun this year getting to know some new quarterbacks in the NFL. I do not need to see Carson Wentz. We all know exactly what Carson Wentz is.
It's weird what's going on with that, because
is he not good? Or are they benching him, or is he hurt?
Well, that's what I think is a little odd. Like, he's been practicing last week. He's been limited practice. Carson Wentz has also been a little banged up. He played on Sunday. It kind of looked like Thursday they were like going to save him on the short week to not play a back-to-back short week games. For the Chargers, I don't know if they're trying to save him from playing a top-tier defense in the Chargers. I mean, they got lit up last week by the Colts, but they are a good defense. I don't really know what's going on, but it's a weird situation in Minnesota. Like, I mean, think if you're Minnesota, if you're Kevin O'Connell, if I was a Vikings fan, I'd be going like, what's going on? Because you give up Sam Darnold, who's tearing it up. I know he had a rough game Monday night, but they still won. Tearing up at the Seahawks, and you put all your faith behind McCarthy, and he's had one good quarter. He's had one good quarter in the fourth quarter against the Bears. Besides that, he's been really, frankly, terrible. And now you're going with Carson Wentz. Like, I don't know. That it's a weird situation.
It's strange to me too, and I'm wondering what the faith level is in the Minnesota Vikings and Kevin O'Connell and JJ McCarthy to actually be their quarterback, and what this means that they're slow playing his return. Was it a calf strain? Was it a hamstring? I can't remember. It was some leg injury,
or his ankle or something.
But it wasn't supposed to be that bad. He was supposed to be back relatively quickly, and this feels like such an extended, prolonged break. And Kevin O'Connell's had a couple of quotes that have gone out about JJ McCarthy. where it almost seems like they don't think he's ready for this job.
And the thing with JJ McCarthy coming into the year is he didn't play that much football. He played a couple seasons at Michigan. He was out all of last year with a knee injury. Like, if you believe in him, you're gonna roll with it, and you're gonna let him play, and you're gonna live amongst the struggles to let him develop. I mean, now he's out even more time. It feels like, I don't know. The vibes around McCarthy and the Vikings are not great right now.
Man, I tell you what, this is a good game for the Chargers to win. They need it. After that hot start that they had where they were beating everybody and they were beating everybody big, their schedule briefly will lighten up after this week's game, and then it gets right back to being tough again. But the Chargers, who in their last 4 games, 4 games, 21-18 to the Giants, 27-10 to the Commanders. They beat the Dolphins 29-27, and the Dolphins haven't been able to touch anybody. And then they get beat 38-24 to the Colts. Chargers need a win.
Like, maybe we can get into this on the other side because we're up against it. But like, where do you evaluate the Chargers? Because they're a hard team to figure out. They're 3-0. Everyone says they're going to the Super Bowl, and they've been bad.
One of the last 4.
And it's like, you have a great quarterback, you have a great head coach, but I mean, I get the injuries, but at some point, like that Miami game, they probably should have lost that if he didn't spin out of the sack. Like, the Chargers are tough to figure out.
But you lose Rashawn Slater before the season starts. You lose Joe Alt 3 games into the season. Yeah. I believe it was week 3. It's like, that is huge. Offensive lines in today's NFL, especially with this Chargers team who Jim Harbaugh wants to rely on the run. He needs to protect Justin Herbert. If you're watching the Chargers last week, Herbert had 0 time in the pocket. The defense was on top of him right away. And it's just, obviously that's not going to help you out. So there are excuses built into why the Chargers haven't been playing as good, but also everyone's hurt. Look across football. This is one of the most injury prone seasons ever, it feels like, and you got to figure out a way around it. So the Chargers need to win in a big way tomorrow night, and we'll see. That is an interesting question, where the Chargers should be ranked right about now. Let's kind of take a look at some broader picture AFC, NFC on the other side. We're also giving away Hallow Scream SeaWorld tickets on the other side. Don't go anywhere. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by eBay. Last night in the NBA, the Houston Rockets fell to the Oklahoma City Thunder in double overtime in the first thriller of the season. And then the Golden State Warriors beat the Los Angeles Lakers by 10, despite Luka Doncic having 43 points. And star quarterback Jaden Daniels, who got hurt in the Dallas Cowboys game, it will be out Monday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. Marcus Mariota will start in his place. eBay is home to millions of finds, and each one becomes part of your story. From your favorite vintage band tee to the dream car you've been searching for, or the foul ball you heroically gave away, it's all there on eBay. eBay, things people love.
$12.42. We're actually going to do it this time. $12.42 is your time to call to win some SeaWorld Hallow screen tickets. We got 4 of them for you. 877-767-4760 is the phone number. $12.42 is the time to call. For those of you on the iHeartRadio app, there's a 45-second delay or so. We want to make sure you're in the runnings for this as well. And we love that you listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Add us to your presets so Sammy and I can get a steak.
Yeah. Then our boss will take us out.
Yeah, I think we're still not close enough. So everyone listening,
I just
right
saw
now,
her. I should have asked her.
Switch over to the free iHeartRadio app. Search San Diego Sports 760. Add us to your presets. I believe Sammy and I are owed a $500 steak. I think we've already done it, but let's just throw some icing on the cake.
Yeah, let's just make it like undeniable.
Undeniable. Mavericks play tonight. Is that right, Sammy? Who are they playing against?
Mavericks Spurs. I think that's the most exciting game of the day so far. That'll be fun. Seeing Wembanyama, obviously the debut of Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper for the Spurs. Like a lot of young talent on both of these teams.
It's a fascinating matchup, and it's cool to see such high draft picks all going head to head with each other. I will say this, and I don't feel good about it. I don't think Cooper Flag is all that. I think he has potential to turn into all of that. I don't know that this year Cooper Flag is going to be as good as all that. I heard Colin going on 20 minutes.
What makes you say that? I'm not saying I disagree with you, but what makes you say that?
I don't think first of all, I think he should have stayed one more year in college. He's incredibly young. You're talking, he just turned 21, He's very, very young. He might be 20 still. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. But Cooper Flag, very, very young, and I think he's still raw athleticism, and he's ridiculously athletic, but he's not finely tuned yet. Like you watched last night, the way Kevin Durant moves down the court in that first half when he was just getting buckets after bucket, it's like Kevin Durant moves differently than most people in the NBA, and everybody in the NBA is ridiculously smooth. Cooper Flag, and I could be wrong, maybe he grew up a lot this offseason, has never really struck me as smooth. He's more reckless, abandoned, aggressive, which is good, and that might work in the NBA. And he's big enough to where that could happen. But I don't know that he has the perfect footwork yet, the perfect flexibility yet, or just the overall smoothness. I saw a very raw athlete in college.
And to that point is they tried him out at point guard in preseason because D'Angelo Russell is basically the point guard, and that's about it because Kyrie Irving's out right now. Didn't go according to plan. Like Cooper Flag is not really a point guard. And they kind of went back on it that he's not going to be a point guard because that feels like a little bit of a waste. And to your point, I think Cooper Flag is going to be an excellent player, but I could see a sense where a lot of NBA rookies get to go to crap teams. And it's kind of different than the NFL because the NFL, when a star rookie goes to a bad team, everyone's looking at him like clock's ticking and you don't have a receiver if you're a star quarterback or you don't have an offensive line. In the NBA, people give you a lot more leeway. Like Victor Wembanyama hasn't made the playoffs yet, but no one's docking Wemby, nor should they. It's like if you're going to
is he like leader in MVP odds for this year?
He's like in the top 5. So if you're looking at like if you go to the Washington Wizards and you're okay to suck for a few years because you know the talent around you is not there. There's not many expectations. But Cooper Flag going to a Mavs team that does have Anthony Davis, that does have PJ Washington, Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving might come back at some point this year. Like there's expectations and there are high hopes for the Mavs, which could work against Cooper Flag a little bit.
All right, let's switch over to the NFL here and take a look at what I deem the 3 most interesting divisions right now. I got the AFC West being a very, very interesting division with lots of flux because the Denver Broncos currently sitting at the top. Although the Denver Broncos have done nothing to really wow me this year. I need to see more out of Bo Nix. And then the NFC West, which has 3 teams that are 5-2, and then the Arizona Cardinals, who seem a little bit broken to me right now. And then the NFC East, where the Eagles are 5-2 and have the top spot in it. But that division feels like it's going to be changing a little bit here because yes, the Eagles are 5-2. They had a get right week last week. Is that going to stay the case? I don't know. Cowboys making a real push. Commanders with Jaden Daniels missing yet another week here. Commanders could be in some trouble. They play the Chiefs this weekend. Chiefs catching another lucky break, man. Having the missing quarterback. Wow.
So like it's like the Chiefs have been missing receivers for the first 6 weeks of the season.
Real lucky break for the Chiefs. That's just what they get. The NFL jaded towards them. But seriously, like, do the Cowboys have a shot at this division? I think is the question I want to ask.
I think they do.
So do I.
Especially since we've seen them play Philly this year. And I know they lost, but opening night, that was set to be a blowout. Everyone was like, they just traded Micah Parsons. The defense is a disaster. Dallas came out firing. And if everyone forgets, CeeDee Lamb dropped 3 huge catches, like massive points in the game. You just beat Washington. I do think the Jaden Daniels injury is a big deal for them, especially considering they just lost to Dallas, because losing to Dallas, now you don't have a tiebreaker. They will play them again on Christmas, so we'll see what happens there. But the Eagles regain a little faith. Now, the Eagles are so hard because sometimes you look at them and you're like, yeah, they're the Super Bowl team that we saw last year. And then sometimes you're like, what the hell's going on? I do think Dallas has a shot at Philly. Obviously, they have to win that game. But I'm curious if Dallas are buyers of the deadline, because we keep hearing Jerry Jones talk about how they need an impact defender on defense, which obviously is crazy because you just traded Mike Parsons. But like the way this team is, you kind of like it seemed like, hey, let's just rebuild. Considering they have a case to be the best offense in the NFL, it does seem, when the defense is giving up the most yards in the NFL, crazy to not try to at least go do something at the deadline.
Yeah, and they just traded away a defensive piece in Micah Parsons, but maybe you use some of that capital to add to this team this year. Peter Traeger was talking about it this morning, saying the Dallas Cowboys might be one defensive piece away from being a legit Super Bowl contender. And with that offense, it's hard to say he's wrong. Like, if Dak stays healthy, if they actually found something with Javonte Williams, you have this dual-headed monster at wide receiver with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. The Cowboys offense has a lot to look like, oh, that offense can go far in the postseason. Cowboys defense is Swiss cheese right now.
Well, and you looked at Philly as coming in the season thinking that they were like, that division wasn't even a question. They were far and away going to win it. It was not even going to be close. Then you would be rethinking this. But the fact that the Eagles have looked vulnerable despite their 5-2 record, I think you're sitting there. I mean, look at Dallas. Like, they beat up on Washington and they had Daniels for most of that game.
Let's be honest. The Commanders look vulnerable as well.
They look vulnerable.
I would have had them as my second choice to win the division at the beginning of the season. They don't look like, even if Jaden Daniels was healthy, they don't look the same as they looked last year.
Like, they tied the Packers. They've had some good wins this year and good performances. I think it'd be a shame for Dallas to just kind of pack it up. Who do you think's more vulnerable, Denver or Philly at the top of the division?
Denver, without a doubt. And I think you were setting me up just to say that because the Chiefs are charging and the Chiefs look really good and the Chiefs look like they're completely back to form, and they are. And Denver doesn't look all that great to me, if I'm being completely honest. Now, they play against Dallas this week.
I'm excited for that game.
So am I. I think Dallas probably wins.
Because, well, Denver's odd to me because you look at, I mean, it would be Denver because the Chiefs look very good and the Chargers are still there, still a very solid team, and they're going to get healthier with Hampton and Alt coming back. But it's weird with the Broncos because you're like, they're winning. They probably should have won the game against the Colts and maybe against the Chargers, but in the last couple of weeks, you feel like they should have lost. So it's a little bit tricky thing with Denver. I just don't know that I can believe in Bo Nix over Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert.
Then the NFC West, man, are there going to be 3 postseason teams from there?
The NFC West is
all
crazy.
3 of them 5-2. The Niners, Seahawks, Rams, all 5-2.
And the Cardinals, if they could close games out, would actually be relevant.
Cardinals seem a little broken. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Light up those phone lines, baby. Time for some SeaWorld Hallow Scream tickets. Sammy, what number caller you want to give them to?
We're doing 13 today.
13. Lucky number 13. Can't wait for it. Call 877-767-4760. Your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Hallow Scream at SeaWorld San Diego. This year, new horrors have awakened. 5 haunted houses, 8 terrifying scare zones, hidden speakeasies, and the shrills of coasters after dark every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday now through November 2nd. Halloween fun for the whole family. For a limited time, kids do go free with a paid adult ticket. We are going to give you 4 paid adult tickets. You can visit SeaWorldSanDiego.com for tickets as well as information. Caller number 13, you're going to SeaWorld Hallow Scream. Coming up next, long shots. What is 1 to 2? That would be a streak. We'll see if Sammy can start that streak. Coming up next. How about Kevin getting the win on SeaWorld San Diego?
Kevin!
Hello, Scream. Congratulations, Kevin. Thank you for listening, man. We appreciate you a lot. Man, those phone lines were lit up, Sammy. You were putting in some work.
Yeah, we had a lot, all the great people calling in.
Love to see it. Well, there goes Hello Scream at SeaWorld. We'll have another 4-pack for you tomorrow. John and Jim are going to have a 4-pack later this afternoon. We have Stan Lazinski, who's going to be joining the show coming up at 1:30. DynastyPriceCheck.com is his website. He is our fantasy football expert here. So if you have any sit questions for week 8 of NFL action, maybe guys who are going tomorrow night, should you be having them in your starting lineup, get your questions into the text line, into the YouTube chat at San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube, 70470. Start your message with team for the text. Last night was something special. It was opening night of NBA action, and Sammy Long created a little lineup for us called Long Shots, where he does daily fantasy lineups for us. And we had a winner. We're all very proud of Sammy. For me, it was a $10 entry that won me $100. We use the Prize Picks app. You can do the same thing if you want to follow along. Your first $5 entry is going to get you a $50 bonus. And this could be your first $5 entry. Sammy, tonight, a little trickier. Not as many sports happening tonight.
Yes, but we have a lot of NBA action. So I was looking. I almost got too many picks here. I got to whittle it down. We're 1 for 1 on NBA so far this season.
Do we need a veto?
You want a veto?
I can have a veto.
Okay, I got...
The veto worked out nicely for us yesterday.
Yes, so I will do 4, and then you can veto 1, okay?
Sounds good. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Why don't we rip it? Go ahead and smash it, Sammy.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Pay that man his money.
with Long Shots.
All right, Sammy Long. Let's see
Okay.
if we can turn a winner into a streaker. We're going streaking.
Okay.
Where are we going?
So I actually have 4 overs tonight. We went all positive for opening night. All right, but I want you, or for or second night, I guess. But then you're going to veto 1. All right. First pick of the day, Boston, Philly, Anthony Simons. This is a guy who a lot of people, unless you're a diehard NBA fan, you probably don't know much about. But this guy, if he didn't play in Portland, fantastic player up there. He got a lot of ample opportunity up there in Portland. And got traded actually to the Boston Celtics. I think with the fact that Jason Tatum is going out, I think Anthony Simons is going to become a household name this year. I think he's really going to go off against Philly. They don't have a ton of guys to guard him. Most of the attention is going to be on Jaylen Brown. Anthony Simons, more than 16.5 points. Joel Embiid is back for the Sixers, so I think the way the Celtics counteract this is they got to win at the guard spot. They got to be better than Maxey and Kelly Oubre. Anthony Simons, more than 16.5 points. All right, let's go to Chicago versus Detroit. Matas Buzelis, okay, more than 16.5 points. This guy's going to be a breakout star for the Chicago Bulls this year. Him and Kobe White. It's a shame that the Bulls can't get a superstar player because they have a lot of complementary pieces that make for a fun team. But the Bulls kind of have the worst of both worlds. They are like the Pittsburgh Steelers of basketball. They win enough games to get in the play-in tournament in the crappy East, but then it keeps them out of the lottery. It keeps them out of having a real chance at getting a top player. Matas Buzelis, though, I think he's going to have a good night tonight against Detroit. Detroit's missing a few guys on that side of the ball. More than 16.5 points for Matas Buzelis. Okay, Utah and the Clippers. James Harden.
How do we spell Buzelis?
Buzelis. Plays for the Chicago Bulls. Then we're going to go James Harden. Because so the Clippers taking on Utah tonight, I think James Harden's going to have a big night. More than 19.5 points. James Harden, there was a report that came out last week from some in the Clippers organization that they're saying he's out of shape. Like, it's a concern with the Clippers organization that he's not ready to play. He's out of shape. There's been a lot of crap surrounding this team talked about. Obviously, the whole Kawhi Leonard aspiration situation where did the Clippers give money to them through through kind of a shell company to evade the salary cap? We don't know. But I think James Harden, that's the amount of stuff that we need for James Harden to have a big night tonight. More than 19.5 points. Utah's got a lot of young talent, but most of it's in the front court with Walker Kessler and guys like that. I think James Harden will have a field day, especially if Ace Bailey, even though he's a talented young rookie making his debut, I don't see anyone can guard James Harden on Utah. So more than 19.5 points for James Harden. And then my final pick of the day. So the big game tonight, Dallas, San Antonio. We're staying away from Cooper Flagg. Staying away from some of the guys that they want you to pick. Stephon Castle, more than 16.5 points. This guy, he's kind of been the rumored for a lot of trade. There's been a lot of talk with the Spurs down there in San Antonio. Do you trade your young talent, your Dylan Harper, your number 2 overall pick, your Stephon Castle, and some picks, and try and land a Giannis to pair with Wembanyama and pair with De'Aaron Fox. I think Stephon Castle's too good to trade. I would not trade him. Now, obviously, if the Giannis package came along, you'd have to think about that. But Stephon Castle, I think, is going to be a breakout guard for the San Antonio Spurs and really kind of create a nasty backcourt between him and De'Aaron Fox. Dylan Harper's more of a really good kind of point guard type player. Stephon Castle is going to be a big scorer tonight. He might be lined up on Cooper Flag. A lot of people are going to be focused on Cooper Flag with all the pressure. I think this is Stephon Castle's night for the San Antonio Spurs at home. More than 16.5 points for Stephon Castle. So to recap, Anthony Simons for Boston, more than 16.5 points. Montas Buzelis for the Chicago Bulls, more than 16.5 points. James Harden for the Los Angeles Clippers, more than 19.5 points. And Stephon Castle, the young guard out of UConn, more than 16.5 points for the Spurs.
I'm going to veto James Harden.
Really?
But I'm actually not going to veto it. I'm going to change it.
You're going to go less?
No. I'm going to go to field goals attempted for James Harden.
I like that.
So let's go 14.5 field goals attempted.
I like that.
You're probably right at the 19.5 points. I just think it's a little less risky because I think he's definitely going to get up 15 shots.
Okay. I like this pick a lot. I like it. This is one of your best vetoes, Fletch, you've ever made.
Wow. Look at that.
No, but you know what? You know why? Because you came with solutions.
Thank you.
So to recap, I like the logic there. Maybe he is out of shape. Maybe everyone is real about him, but I do think Harden will be jacking the ball up tonight. So to recap, final parlay. Go. Anthony Simons, more than 16.5 points, making his debut for the Boston Celtics. Montas Buzelis for Chicago at the guard spot, more than 16.5 points. James Harden, more than 14.5 field goals attempted. And Stephon Castle, more than 16.5 points. That's a 4-leg parlay. Guess what? $20 pays you $120. And if you power play it, $200.
Woo! Well, I think we got a power play, right? That's how you get a streak going.
Yes, sir.
What was the Castle one? Sorry.
Stephon Castle, more than 16.5 points. I really feel like that's my favorite pick of the night in this lineup. I really feel like Castle, everyone's going to be on Cooper Flag. You know, I know you're down on Cooper Flag. I think under 15.5 points, I'm not saying we're adding it to it. I think he goes under tonight. I think usually we see when high-profile rookies come in the league, they make a point. Do you remember Lonzo Ball? Now, I know his daddy was running his mouth. But remember Lonzo Ball the first night, Lakers versus Clippers, and Patrick Beverly flipped him on his head? Yeah. I mean, NBA players take this personally when they're told that a guy's going to come in there and smoke them. It's a little welcome to the NBA moment.
I included it on mine. I like it a lot. All right, we're submitted. We're locked in. That thing will hit as I'm getting into Vegas because my flight just keeps on getting delayed over and over and over
What
again.
airline was it that keeps getting delayed?
Northeast.
Northwest, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you been to the new terminal?
No, I haven't. I'm actually excited to do that. So I might just go to the time my plane was supposed to board and maybe sit down and have dinner because it looks like I'm just going to be hanging out there a lot. But it is out of the new Terminal 1.
The new terminals is nice. It's very they made it very San Diego. A lot of cool bars in there. I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to it. I really am. All right, hour 2 is coming up next. We have Stan Lazinski, who is our fantasy football expert. He was in studio last week. That was a great treat having Stan in, and hopefully he's come out of his hole because he's been crying a lot after the Seattle Mariners failed to make the World Series.
Tough.
Rough way to lose. Rough way for a season to end.
Dude, that's like the worst to be up. You're going to go to your first World Series by 2 runs, and then George Springer comes up.
I saw a stat yesterday. They're like one of only 3 teams in Major League Baseball history to win the first 2 games on the road and not win the series.
Dude, I mean, and the crazy thing is the Mariners have had like stars come through there over the years. Like This is not a team that you look at. It's like they just literally have not had talent.
Literally one of the greatest baseball players of all time. People will make the argument that he is. Ken Griffey Jr.
100%
was a Mariner. Crazy. Ichiro.
Yeah, I mean they got 858 says he lowered Harden to 16.5, so it looks like 16.5 is the magic number.
Pedro Martinez.
Lots
of great Mariners.
Who was the great pitcher with the glasses?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
He was so good.
Yeah. Frick, what's that dude's name?
We'll find it.
Whatever. Hour 2 is coming up next in San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. It's Fletch for Gary Cooper over at Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty. Give a call today, 858-376-1299. If you have purchased a home in the last few years, Gary Cooper has a way for you to save some money. Gary, tell the people what they want.
Well, that is true. And if you've refinanced in the last 3 years, if you have an interest rate that's in the mid to high sixes, or in a lot of cases, people have rates in the 7% range, the 10-year bond, the benchmark for long-term interest rates, has dipped below 4%. It's actually sitting at 3.97 right now. What does that mean to you? Interest rates are lowering. So I'll give you one example. If you were to do a rate and term refinance, no cash out on a single family house, estimated value $990, loan amount $740,000. That means you're at 75% loan to value, credit scores of 780 or better. Then you are looking at a 30-year fixed at this very moment at 5.925. That's 5.925 with an APR of 6.01. So that's a pretty good drop. And hopefully we'll get some more news this week on Friday, the Consumer Price Index. So if these reports start coming in favorably, we can see a little bit better interest rates in the following week. So don't sit and wait. You can always complete an application with me. We can sit and wait and kind of see what happens. But at least you have everything in. And if the rates do drop to a certain point, I can lock it right away for you.
All it takes is a phone call, 858-376-1299. Have a conversation with Gary Cooper that could save you cash. Call Gary Cooper today or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies. STFC hosting its first ever playoff match on Sunday and first one at home. That game is going at 6:30. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. As always, they await the winner of Portland and Salt Lake tonight. That game will be on Apple TV Plus at 7:30. And star quarterback Jaden Daniels has been ruled out for their Monday Night Football showdown against the Chiefs. Marcus Mariota will be starting in his place. Your new Dell PC with Intel Core Ultra helps you handle a lot when your holiday to-dos get to be a lot, like organizing holiday shopping, responding to requests, and customers requesting custom things. Luckily, the Dell PC helps you get it all done. That's the power of a Dell PC with Intel inside. Get yours at Dell.com/deals.
It's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. You just heard Sammy say it. SDFC this weekend, this Sunday night, has a match. We find out who they play after tonight. So tonight, Real Salt Lake and Portland will play against each other. Whoever wins that match will be coming to San Diego for Sunday night's match at 6:30 at Snapdragon Stadium. There is an update on that match, though, as news is coming down as of an hour ago from Tom Bogert, who covers MLS. He's a MLS and USMNT, men's national team insider for The Athletic, and as well as the New York Post. He has an article out right now about Chucky Lozano, about the reason why he missed last week's matchup, about the reason why he was substituted at halftime against Houston, and about how the fact that Chucky Lozano may miss this weekend's match, the first round of the postseason for SDFC.
Okay.
It doesn't sound great.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know all the X's and O's of soccer, okay, and everything like that. I believe that's all the experts. But
it's Sammy Long. saying he's not a soccer expert.
I'm a soccer fan. I've been trying to get into it. Obviously following STFC.
It is fun. I've had a blast watching.
No, it's
them
fantastic. I'm just saying what I'm about to get to is I'm not sitting here questioning the coaching staff or anything like that because I'm not an expert in that field. I don't know soccer how to how to game plan, but not starting Chucky Lozano because of quote here situation stems from verbal altercation that happened around Lozano getting subbed out at halftime in game versus Houston. Listen, I'm not there. I don't know what's going on, but obviously it feels like after Olaski and then not being with STFC anymore, and now Chucky Lozano, it's a big matchup on Sunday. Listen, they responded obviously well. They played well down the stretch. They destroyed Portland 4-0, I guess. But like that is a thing. I mean, if they're playing Portland, if Portland wins tonight, there is some familiarity there in that they will have played them last week. Sure. And then they'll either play them at least 2 times in a row, maybe 3. I feel like benching one of your best players is probably not the way to go for Sunday.
So again, this is a report from Tom Bogert, who works with the Athletics, saying the situation stems from a verbal altercation that happened around Lozano getting subbed out at halftime in a game versus Houston. This could be a lot of things. I would say we need to wait and see what San Diego FC says, and if there's going to be a source that's not an anonymous source, and potentially this is something leading up to the postseason that is going to get some traction on the internet. But Chucky Lozano on the team is better than Chucky Lozano not playing. I would tend to agree with Sammy that unless this is something that's detrimental to the team, unless this is something that's going to cause some sort of rift in the clubhouse, Chucky Lozano needs to be playing this weekend. Now, they have played well without him at times this year. He had the hamstring injury early in the season. They're still the number 1 seed in the West. And like we talked to Derek Togerson yesterday, and he said, really between Real Salt Lake and Portland, San Diego FC has the talent to overcome either of them. Well, does that change if Chucky Lozano's not on the field? A lot to be determined here. We'll see. Long ways between now and Sunday. And in this article, it says one source says that Chucky Lozano needs to prove to the locker room how committed he is. Maybe over the next 5 days, he does just that, and he's out there on the field. But definitely something to keep an eye on for all USDFC fans. All right, Samuel, let's get to the big 3 of our number 2. By the way, of course, you're going to hear SDFC, whoever they're playing against, this Sunday night, 6:30, right here on San Diego Sports 760. And I believe we're talking to Adrian Garcia Marquez this week, right?
Yes, tomorrow at 1:30.
Perfect. The voice of SDFC. Can't wait for that. We'll ask him about this if it's still an ongoing situation. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. Sammy, let's get to the big 3 of our number 2. Go ahead and smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The big 3.
Not to jump in, but just for a second here, our buddy John Silva on YouTube says Giants named Tony Vitello their new manager. I saw that earlier today. So he's the Tennessee Vols head baseball coach. And Posey said a couple days ago, he's like, look, we've made the offer for this guy. We want this guy.
Wow.
He has like 0 Major League Baseball coaching experience.
Yeah. Now, again, Buster Posey's done more for the game of baseball than everyone. And maybe, or not than everyone, but than a lot of people. And maybe Buster Posey knows something that we don't. This feels a little bit like, hey, I'm Bill Belichick and I'm going to trade my star linebacker randomly because I just know more. Like Buster Posey, is that really the right hire going for a guy in college? I don't. How does he earn the respect of the players on the team?
Hopefully quickly. Now you look at the Giants. This is now 4 straight years without them making the postseason. This after a decade where basically they were a major player in a World Series contender year in and year out. So this is maybe just a total swing in the opposite direction because you just did the Bob Melvin thing. It didn't work out. The year before you were doing the Gabe Kepler. Was that his name? Kepler? Yeah. The guy that tanned his behind all the time. Remember that story about him? So you've done those 2 hires, which Kepler was the up-and-comer in the Phillies organization, goes over to the Giants. Bob Melvin, we all know his history way too well. This feels like a total tendency breaker for a new general manager in Buster Posey, who's still getting his feet wet. Curious to see how it works. Tell you that. I think this is probably... Look, here's the good news. Padres weren't going after this guy. So the market's still wide open for the Padres.
Very good for the Padres. And you're looking at it, it's like, listen, maybe they know something, but...
Maybe this guy's a genius.
Maybe he's a genius, but it does feel weird that you're hiring a guy, especially when the problem with your team is the fact that you can't hit the ball. Like that's the Giants' problem. If you looked at their pitching staff, you'd be like, wow, this team could be real players. They can't hit the ball. And I don't know. Interesting decision for me, but hey, maybe, I mean, It makes, if the Padres get Albert Pujols and they're going with this guy, it makes the Padres look way better.
I mean, Pujols doesn't have any Major League Baseball managing experience either, so it's almost the same to me. But we'll see. Again, maybe this guy's a genius and Posey knows something none of us do. There's a reason Posey's a general manager and Sammy and I are sitting here.
Very true. Let's go to the NBA. Spurs Mavericks tonight. What team has a higher ceiling for you this season, Fletch?
Spurs, without a doubt. Wemby's about to explode. I have strong feelings about that. I think he's going to be excellent this year if he can stay healthy. And De'Aaron Fox is still on the Spurs. Am I right about that? It's not like I'm flipping the pages every day on the NBA, but De'Aaron Fox is a ridiculously talented young point guard in this league. I thought it was a mistake for the Kings to let him go. So you look at kind of their 1-2 punch. The Spurs got some serious talent, man, and a legacy team without a doubt. The Dallas Mavericks, I'm not as high on Cooper Flag as everyone else seems to be. I think if it's going to work with Cooper Flag, it's going to work like 2 or 3 years from now, not this year. So give me the Spurs this year. I think they're major contenders in the West.
I would roll with you on the Spurs too. Now, if Kyrie Irving was here, I think that's a totally different thing, because if Kyrie was there, you'd have Kyrie, Anthony Davis, and Cooper Flag, along with PJ Washington. A lot of guys going on there, Derek Lively. It's a very talented group. I just think, and it's not a shot to Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis is great with the Lakers, but when you're counting on Anthony Davis to be the centerpiece of a guy staying healthy, we all know Anthony Davis's injury history. I feel like we could see like that it's always a tough ask when Anthony Davis is the guy that you need to stay on the floor to help your young guy. I think the Spurs are ready to explode. De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama really feels like this is their year. They finally make the postseason. And like I said in long shots, I think Stephon Castle, it's just like last year, is going to be one of the breakout stars of this season. They got the number 2 pick in the draft, Dylan Harper. So even though Cooper Flags are in Dallas, Dylan Harper is going to be a very talented player for them. Devin Vassell. I go with the Spurs. The Spurs are they're an interesting team. Like on paper, they're one of the most talented, but I do think them not being in the postseason yet is like, I see it. It's going to be hard for them to beat some really good teams.
And
but
can Wemby stay on the court all year?
That's a real thing.
He's tall. That's fun to look at. It's a very fragile looking frame that Wemby stands on.
Totally. But if they got in as like a 8 seed, I don't know a lot of teams in the West that would necessarily want to play them. All right, let's head to the World Series. Dodgers instilled by Vegas as minus 230 favorites to win it.
Jeez.
Over a 2-1. Toronto is currently opened at plus 175. Now it's been bet down to plus 190. Are the Dodgers too big of favorites in this series?
It's kind of crazy that none of us saw this coming. It really is. But obviously, this was how it was going to happen this year. Obviously, Glasnow and Snell and Yamamoto, the guys they were slow playing to come back, we're just going to come back and have excellent postseasons. It all feels so obvious at this point. It feels a little inevitable, but this is why all these talks are starting to heat up, and Jeff Passan's starting to write articles about the fact that baseball could be heading for a shutout. I think it's kind of soft of all of us to just complain about what the Dodgers did. Clearly, the Dodgers outsmarted everybody, and they paid a bunch of money to a starting rotation that's dominant, and those guys are all going to be fresh and ready to go for the World Series. I feel like that number's spot on. That seems like exactly what it should be.
It's surprising. The Dodgers should definitely be a favorite. I understand them being a 2-1 favorite. Now, the one thing that gives you a little pause if you're thinking about betting this is the Blue Jays do have home field advantage. And I know that against the Dodgers, that probably means less than other teams because we saw the Dodgers roll into Philly, which has...
Yeah, I feel in Toronto, though, you're asking a little bit more for Dodger fans to jump the border and go.
Right, exactly.
I think it's going to be a good home field advantage.
I think it will be, too. I mean, outside of Petco Park, you look at Philadelphia as one of the most raucous home field advantages, and the Dodgers ran in there and didn't seem to phase them whatsoever. They won both games 1 and 2. The Brewers, they obviously swept them there. I do feel like Toronto has the big game hitters, George Springer, Vladdy. It's going to come down to, though, for me, if the Blue Jays are going to have any chance, they don't have a premier lefty to go against Ohtani and Freddie Freeman and guys like that in the Dodger order. But let's also remember, if you're like Ohtani had one of the crazy, maybe the greatest playoff performance of all time. I would say so.
I would agree.
He was also, before the last game, before game 3, really struggling to hit a baseball. Like, bad to the point he had one hit in the Phillies series. So,
if you were being completely honest, how far does this series go? I'm going to say 5 games.
I say Dodgers win it in 6.
I think Dodgers win it in 5. And I think the Blue Jays might get game 1, and that's it.
I think if you're the Blue Jays, this seems obvious, but you have to win game 1. Like, you have to come out, because if Blake Snell has been so electric that you can't just pencil in losses for the Blue Jays at games 1 and 5. Like, if you come out and beat Blake Snell early in game 1, then I think it kind of flips the series on its head a little bit because Yamamoto has struggled at times. And then you kind of get to the rest. But the Dodgers starting rotation is so unbelievable. I mean, Tyler Glasnow is their worst starter in the playoffs and would be a number 1 or number 2 on most teams.
We got to be done with the stupid Dodgers. What's next?
Let's head to the NFL. So we're going to talk about the NFC East. Where do you view the Cowboys? A lot of people are saying that they should be buyers at the trade deadline. And then now with the Jaden Daniels injury, even the Giants kind of hanging around there. Where do you see that whole division? Are the Eagles far and away the favorite? Do you think the Cowboys or the Commanders have a real shot to catch them?
The Eagles absolutely should be the favorite. I think at this point, the Commanders are going to take a serious step back in terms of postseason odds, making the postseason in terms of winning the division. Commanders have to take a huge step back. Cowboys are the number 1 challenger. It's fun to talk about Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo, but if we're all being completely honest, that team is still a year away, and I think they are coached terribly right now, and they probably need to get a new head coach in there. Brian Dable, great offensive coordinator. Head coach, I think situationally, he's been awful this year. So you look at all of that put together, and I think it is a 2-horse race. I think it's the Eagles, it's the Cowboys. Cowboys do need to add a piece at the trade deadline, probably defensively. I would think that the Cowboys and the Niners are both going to be in competition to go after the Bradley Chubbs and the Trey Hendricksons of the world, and I don't think it'd be a mistake for either team to give up some serious capital to go get them.
It is funny. You look at the Niners, the Cowboys, the Commanders, like you're all looking at pass rushers.
You all need the same thing.
You all need the same thing. So, like, you're looking like Chicago could use some pass rushers. I mean,
which if you're the Bengals, you're just sitting back there saying, "Yeah, fight monkeys." Who's going to offer more?
I know you. What it's like them re-signing the Bengals, re-signing him to a lesser deal, but keeping him there. Like he is an extremely valuable piece. You look at to a lesser extent Jalen Phillips with Miami. Like, I'm curious to see who's all selling off. Is Miami, the Jets, and the Bengals are selling off. But then are the Bengals going to sell off? Because if they beat the Jets this week, and all the reports are that Burrow's going to be coming back in mid-December, are they going to hold on to him? Are they going to? If I'm a team in the NFC, if I'm the Cowboys, if I'm the Niners, if I'm the Commanders, I am rooting so hard for the Jets this weekend to knock them out of contention, really, because if you lose to the Jets and you're Cincy, it's probably done. So you get a big time pass rusher. But yeah, I certainly think the Cowboys have the offense to hang with anyone in the NFC. I feel like the Cowboys are that team that could beat anyone in a playoff game, but at the same time, they're probably not winning multiple games because the defense is historically bad. The Commanders would be an interesting team if they got in the playoffs. Like Daniels is out this week. Seems like he'll be back next week. But if the Commanders got in, I mean, they have playoff experience after last year. They would not be a team I necessarily want to play if I was at the top of the NFC.
All right, tons of text rolling in for fantasy football questions. Keep those coming. 70470. Start your message with team. I'm going to rip through some of these other texts right now. 619. Yes, you came through for me, Sammy. My last $5 is now $50. Give me another winner. Marcos MPB.
Got Marcos some bar money with that one.
Appreciate you, Marcos. 858. You can always bet the over on Jimmy Butler free throw attempts. The guy is crazy. Didn't he have like 15 of them last night?
Yeah, because
he went 15 for 15.
JJ Redick is leaving Gabe Vincent on. It makes no sense.
858. In long shots, I lowered Harden to 16.5 shot attempts, so it looks like 16.5 is the magic number. 619. Pedro Martinez definitely did not play for the Mariners. LOL. I meant Felix Hernandez. That would be my mistake. King Felix was the guy I was talking about. Sammy and I talked about that 2 seconds after we got off. 619 or 858. What's worse, never making a World Series or your team blowing their 2 appearances? That is the Padres and the Mariners discussion, isn't it? Because Padres been to the World Series twice.
Blowing the appearance, I think you want to get there because at least you have the experience of getting to a World Series.
Losing like the Mariners lost is one of the more heartbreaking fashions of loss I can remember in a while in sports.
I was having a debate though with someone like would you rather have your team blown out in a big game or lose a heartbreaker? I would rather lose a heartbreaker because even though it sticks with you and it hurts, at least there were times when watching the game you felt like you had a chance.
Every Niners Super Bowl appearance of my lifetime.
Right,
they should have won 2 of them at least. Ravens and Chiefs. Chiefs the second time, not the first time.
The second time?
Not the Jimmy G time. The Brock Purdy time.
What? Because he missed it. I'm not getting that. That's insane.
559.
I can't believe you're saying
San Francisco Giants new coach also took a pay cut to jump to the big leagues. That's from our buddy Mauricio, who we learned is not in Norway but the Netherlands. Thank you, Mauricio, for listening.
Dude, Mauricio's the GOAT, man. At night, he's like just tuning in, vibing us.
You imagine taking a pay cut to jump from college to the pros, go from all the control in the world to one of the most easily fired jobs ever?
Because if he's good, he's going to make all that money back in a contract. I'm sorry, but college baseball is so irrelevant. Like,
yeah, but job security wise, college baseball is much better.
Yeah,
maybe not at Tennessee, but I mean, for the most part,
he's likely would never get this shot in hell. This is like that movie Rockstar. Remember when Wahlberg, the doing the cover band gets put in. This is him. This is the new Giants manager.
San Diego Sports 760. We'll take a quick break here. Keep those fantasy texts coming in. If you got questions for week 8, Stan Lazinski is going to be here in about 10 minutes. He will answer all of them at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Seven six zero with a ridiculously relatable text coming into the show. The North Carolina Villanova NCAA championship game in 2016 will forever hurt me.
Oh, that was brutal.
I don't know how many people know this about me. I did grow up. My grandmother was actually a cheerleader for the Tar Heels.
Really?
So I grew up in North Carolina onesies. It was very tricky for me to be a fan last year of San Diego State when they were playing against North Carolina. Obviously, now I'm close to some of the Aztec players. I know Brian Dutcher. I know Dave Velasquez very well. So it was easy for me to separate professional and personal in that situation.
You don't know him enough though to be playing blackjack with them, like I told you to get interviews for tomorrow's show.
I mean, if Dutch is at a blackjack table, I'm gonna go cozy up to him tonight. All right. I just don't think Brian Dutcher
cozy up to Brian Dutcher. He's gonna listen to this and be like, okay,
just right under his arm. But that 2016 game, I remember watching, and man, Chris Jenkins making that shot on that, just the easiest basketball play ever. Literally basketball 101. It was such a defensible position for North Carolina, and they didn't do it. And Chris Jenkins makes that shot, and you go from the highest of highs to lowest of lows. Absolutely brutal. Then one shining moment comes on, which is like one of my favorite moments of the sports year every single year. And I'm sitting there like, F this stupid BS.
Dude, well, people forget about that. The Jay Wright reaction where he didn't even flinch was awesome. But the crazy thing was, I forgot the guard for North Carolina that hit that crazy shot where he like contorted his body at like almost the half court line and hit. Everyone forgets about that shot because it was right before the game winner. Yeah, that was one of the all-time championship games. Unfortunately, not for North Carolina Tar Heel fans.
858, man, I don't think I can handle watching the Saints lose the Super Bowl. The damage from the NFC Championship no-call pass interference cost me my job, my girl, and I'm not allowed within 1,000 feet of the Vinovich family who just happens to live in North County. Who dat? That is an insane text, 858. I don't know. Do we call the cops? Is that what we do now? Do we call 911?
Hopefully we're not personally reliable because we just read that on air.
Dude, that's crazy. Did you actually lose your job for that? Because that's kind of baller, losing your job over a game. Text back 70470. Start your message.
Hey man, that was a bad day for both of us. You guys had the PI. D4 jumped off sides. That was a brutal day.
We'll keep your name out of this, 858. I just want to know the whole story. If you actually lost your job,
we're good.
I won't even read the next text on
John
here.
says read that again.
Man, this is from the 858. Man, I don't think I could handle watching the Saints lose the Super Bowl. The damage from the NFC Championship no call pass interference cost me my job, my girl, and I'm not allowed within 1,000 feet of the Vinovich family who just happens to live in North County.
How do you know that?
That's crazy. I do know Bill Vinovich, the NFL ref. He does live in the San Diego area. He might be listening right now. What up, Bill?
Shout out to Bill Vinovich. Not Carl Sheffers.
He's also a college basketball ref. Do you know that?
Dude, that is the most wild text we've ever gotten on this show.
That's the crazy thing about Bill Vinovich is he'll do like an NFL game on a Sunday and then he'll be calling Mountain West games on a Tuesday for basketball.
Yeah, like some like night game at like 8:30.
And all of a sudden you're watching San Diego State Fresno State and you're like,
is that Bill Vinovich?
Is that Bill Vinovich? And it is. It's crazy. He's a good job too. He's one of the better refs in the Mountain West.
858. I don't even know how to respond to that. I cost him his job, his girl. I wonder what happened there. Like, let me guess what happened. I bet he was supposed to work. He called out sick, understandably, because I'm not missing an NFC Championship game.
Heartbroken.
And then he's watching with his girl. Let me guess what happens. The PI happens, right? Losing your...
A beer goes through the TV.
Beer goes to the TV. She's like, hey, it's not that big deal. I'll get him next year. That is one of the worst things that someone who does not care about sports can say when your team gets eliminated. You want to light the fuse?
You want to light it up? Oh, we'll go nuclear if you want.
I've had that happen to me. They'll get him next year.
Because I know if I react insanely, my wife will get upset because she just doesn't. It would be as if one of her housewives did something so unbelievable that really pissed her off. She would have a similar reaction. But if like the Niners are losing and I think it's because they're being dumb, I will literally get up, put the leash on my dog, take him out for a walk, and take that little 20-minute cool down.
20-minute cool down. We had a family blow up one time because I was apparently using words, my dad and I, that were not permissible for the extended family to be over.
Which words?
Can't get into them on the FCC airwaves, but I was saying some things that apparently other family members didn't love. And I was like, hey, listen, you guys chose to come over here and watch the game. I didn't invite you over. So I think that's kind of where we had a little standoff, turn into a whole thing. But listen, it's always a fun memory with the family. You know what I mean?
858, can we read that text on air? Please let us know, because that is the conclusion of this story we were all hoping for. Thank you for sending that in.
I'm not seeing the end of this text.
It just came in about 5 seconds ago. We got to take a break.
I told you.
Stan Lazinski's coming up next. He's our fantasy football expert. If you have questions, hit us up on the text line 70470. Start your message with the word team. Any start sit questions for week 8. And with the 858's permission, we will conclude that story on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The support is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Jaden Daniels, star quarterback for the Washington Commanders, has been ruled out Monday night against Kansas City in Arrowhead. Marcus Mariota will be starting in his place. He got banged up last week during the Dallas Cowboys game. And the two big games of the night in the NBA, every other team will be in action. Besides those last night, the Cavs and the Knicks, the two favorites out of the Eastern Conference, could go in at 4 o'clock. Karl Anthony Towns will not be playing in this game tonight. And then at 6:30, Spurs and Mavericks Battle of Texas. Our first look at Cooper Flag in a Dallas uniform. Don't let data limits hold you back from being the GIF, whatever it is, master in the family group chat. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get real unlimited data on Verizon's 5G network. Straight Talk, available at straighttalk.com or Walmart.
iHeartRadio has your hookup to hear new music from John Bon Jovi before anyone else. The iHeartRadio album preview with Bon Jovi featuring Forever, the legendary edition. Discover never before heard tracks from their new album Forever before its official release this Friday. You're also going to hear an in-depth interview as John Bon Jovi shares the vision, the vibe, and the voice behind their new album. The only way to be a part of this exclusive experience is to listen live tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on Today's Mix in the free iHeartRadio app. Man, John Bon Jovi. Sam, are you going to be all over that?
Let me some Bon Jovi.
Some JBJ.
JBJ, is he playing the old stuff or is this just the new album?
Sounds like the new album.
Is Richie back?
I have no idea. All right, we got our fantasy football expert. His name is Stan Lazinski. Stan the man. He joins us today. DynastyPriceCheck.com is where you find him. Also YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, all over the place. Dynasty Price Check is where you get the information. Hello, Stan. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, Ben. Rough week for me after seeing my Mariners lose, unfortunately. But hey, the Seahawks go ahead and get the W in prime time and keep me alive for the day. So we're holding over.
Sammy and I were just talking about that. I think the way the Mariners lost was one of the most heartbreaking losses I've seen in a while. After being up 2-0 on the road against the Toronto Blue Jays, to get to a game 7, to have a 3-1 lead, only for George Springer to wipe it away in an instant, and then all the chaos and carnage in the locker room after the game. I felt horrible for you, first and foremost, of course, because you're our best friend, but also for all the Mariners fans who I don't know how I would deal with that. That one sucked.
Yeah, definitely was not an enjoyable night for us Seattle Mariners fans. Even the Seattle Seahawks stadium. I don't know if you guys were watching the primetime game, but it went pretty damn silent in there. I think Seattle was having a moment of mourning, even in the middle of another sports game.
And Lumen Field just doesn't get quiet. As a Niners fan, I know that pretty well. All right, let's get to some of these questions, Stan. Sure. We got them all over the text line. 858 says, I'm in a full PPR league. I need to start 2. Juwan Jennings, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Stephon Diggs.
I'm probably going to give you Stephon Diggs and Terry McLaurin. Now, obviously, we got to wait for the final go-ahead on Terry McLaurin that he is for sure going to play. But seeing that's a Monday night game and he's already trending towards that direction, they've obviously been having him come through at practice here. I think you'll be good to go on that one. I am just going to fade Juwan Jennings only because of this Texans defense. Although the Seattle Seahawks had no issues against them, they're still a very staunch unit. And I don't favor any pass catcher against Derek Stingley, besides Jackson Smith and Jig.
858's asking for the flex, Nick Chubb or Josh Downs.
Oof, that's a tough one. I think I'm going to lean Josh Downs here, honestly. I know Nick Chubb has given you a touchdown upside on occasion, but again, that San Francisco team is looking great. Robert Saleh's got the defense performing at a great level. I don't think Nick Chubb is going to have a lot of success against them.
This week 8 is kind of by Mageddon, at least the first one we have this year. 858 saying, do I start both Panthers running back this week or do I bench one of them for Nick Chubb? Please help. Everyone's on bye.
No, I'm starting them both. You know, I've actually been saying a lot this week, just in general. If you own Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, I don't want the headache of trying to decide who's going to do what each week. I think you're either starting them both or you're packaging them together and you're trading them away so that you don't have to look at yourself in the mirror every time you make the wrong decision for the rest of the season.
760 is asking, how do you evaluate the Eagles receiving core? AJ Brown putting that Instagram post, kind of taking a shot at the Eagles, but he did have 4 catches for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. How do you evaluate him going forward?
Yeah, I mean, AJ Brown is tough, right? He's definitely playing into the receivers are diva mantra over here and continues to put out cryptic messages on social media. Now, regardless of that, he's started to come to life from fantasy terms here and has given you some pretty big weeks, including several 20-point plus weeks like you've seen recently. I think at this point, you got to trust the Eagles passing offense, at least more than you trust their running offense, as Saquon Barkley's getting stuffed behind the line of scrimmage at the second highest rate in the entire league. So I think Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown wheels up on these guys, especially against the New York Giants team that let the Denver Broncos come all the way back against them this last week.
Stan Lazinski, our fantasy expert, joining us today here on San Diego Sports 760. You find him at dynastypricecheck.com, Dynasty Price Check, all over social media. 619 texting in, Stan, saying, what do I do with George Kittle? I stashed him for his entire injury, only for him to come back and have an excellent blocking game. Is he startable moving forward?
I was waiting for the George Kittle question, and I can't be happier you asked me. Here's an interesting nugget of statistic for you guys out there, all right? There's only been 3 times in George Kittle's career he's been held to 0 catches. The week after he's been held to 0 catches, all 3 weeks, he has put up over 22 fantasy points. That means if you ended up with the dud this week, you are going to get handsomely rewarded this week if history has taught us anything. Trust George Kittle moving forward. I'm not phased.
Is that a nice daily fantasy play for tomorrow as well?
I like that.
Or for Sunday?
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. I'm putting the over on George Kittle on Sunday.
760 is asking or venting Saquon Barkley. I'm over it, man. Knew I shouldn't have drafted him at 4th, but wanted the high end running back. It just won't happen this year for him. Will it? ?
Yeah, I think the really tough part that we're seeing with Saquon, without getting too much into the weeds with you guys, is the change in scheme with the offensive coordinator, running a bit more gap runs instead of letting him find the holes in the zone, especially not allowing him to bounce on the outside as much. Combined with the lack of design runs for Jalen Hurts, it's just become far more predictable for for Saquon Barkley. However, I still do believe in him to have a better second half of the season. Now, I'm not telling you he's the bona fide RB1 like last year, but I do think you'll get top 10 production from him moving forward. The Eagles do have a favorable schedule coming up.
6 teams on a bye week this week, Stan. You got Arizona Cardinals, Lions, who have tons of fantasy pieces, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Las Vegas Raiders, Rams, and Seahawks. Are there any streaming wide receivers or running backs? So let's just go flex option that are waiver wire pickups this week that you could ditch after this week.
You're not finding a lot on the waiver wire at this point of the season. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to be pointing you to some really deep names out here, like Kyle Monangai on the Bears, who came up, last week with 13 carries and a touchdown. So that could be another play for you this week, as the Baltimore Ravens defense has been pretty abysmal against the run. Outside of that, if you still got guys out there like Rashad Smith, who got 14 carries for the Chiefs this last week and is going to be going up against a backup-driven Marcus Mariota run Washington team, that could be a deep play for you. Outside of that, the wide receiver room is looking pretty thin. I am not going to lie. You are dealing with guys out here like Marvin Mims, Tez Johnson, Alec Pierce. Not a lot of great options on that front. I will say, though, a lot of people are nervous to flex the tight ends. And if you guys remember from last week, I told everybody right at the end of the show, I said, go pick up Noah Fant. He's going to come out and he's going to give you production. Ends with 18.5 fantasy points, not to toot my own horn, but I think it's another great matchup this week for him going up against the New York Jets. Same thing for Mason Taylor and even a guy like Theo Johnson potentially against the Eagles, who's allowed some dump off passes over the middle to tight ends in the previous weeks. I think that, along with Cade Otton, who's, the Buccaneers are dealing with injuries left and right. I think this could be one of those weeks where you're just gassing up a lot of tight ends in those flex spots because they're available on your waiver wire.
I forgot to tell you, that won me a week in a fantasy league, the Noah Fant pickup. Nobody had him. I swooped him and then bam, touchdown right away. Where are you going?
I got screwed, Stan, because you gave that out on air and all my league was listening and they grabbed him before I could. So thank you kind of for the Noah Fant. But how do you evaluate, speaking of those Chiefs, Rashard Smith, how do you evaluate Xavier Worthy? Rashee Rice comes back, has a big performance. Xavier Worthy didn't have a big performance this week against the Raiders. Do you knock him down a peg or do you think it's just 1 week?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna cop out with the answer and find myself somewhere in the middle here. And when Rasheed Rice comes back, came back. I knew that he was gonna get involved right away. I mean, even thinking just about the circumstances, the man's completely fresh, right? So they've got a chance to get him involved heavily. He sees a 29% target share right out of the gate. Now Xavier Worthy drops to around 12%. Definitely not wildly encouraging. However, I will say Travis Kelce finds himself at only 7% target share, which is showing you that Rasheed Rice and Travis Kelce play a very similar role. Worthy still getting that 12% number and getting some deep shots looking at him shows you that they are going to use him a lot differently than Rasheed Rice. So the opportunities will come. They'll just be a little bit more game script dependent, right? When are the Chiefs feeling the pressure to force the ball downfield? Now, I'm not going to rule out Xavier Worthy at this point and say he's no longer a startable wide receiver 2 or flex option. I just think you got to understand that some of these games, Rasheed Rice is going to be seeing a large share of these underneath routes, and that is going to cap Xavier Worthy at about a 9 to 11 point ceiling, depending on matchup.
949 right before the deadline here. Stan says the fantasy experts told me to take Travion Henderson over Ramondre Stevenson. Why does Mike Vrabel hate fantasy football?
Man, I am right there with you. We can all share in the pain. I don't understand the logic behind taking one of the best running backs in college football and letting an undrafted free agent out snap him last week. So Mike Vrabel clearly had some sort of issue with Travion Henderson. Maybe he's dating his daughter or something, and we just don't know it. So honestly, even my fantasy expertise can't give you the answer on this one. I'm as dumbfounded as you are, and we can all share our misery together.
Stan, you're the best, man. Any parting words here? What time are you going live today?
Yep, I'll be live actually right after the show here. If you guys want to mob over right at 2 p.m., you can catch me live on all platforms. And again, later tonight, a little DPC After Dark. I know you guys love that one. And only other thing I'll say on the week, guys, is like I was saying with the tight ends, I think it's tight end week. You got to just ride them out. On Buymageddon, those are going to be your best waiver wire options over some of these pass catchers that quite simply are not going to see the volume.
We have found out that if you tip Stan enough, he won't take off his clothes, unfortunately. So you're just going to have to check out DPC After Dark. It's still fun, though.
Hey, it's a hot day. I'll be in a tank top if that's any consolation.
Appreciate you, Stan. You're the best. Thank you, man. DynastyPriceCheck.com is where you find him. Dynasty Price Check on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all over the place. He'll be streaming live 2 times today, once at 2:00, once at the end of the night. All right. Coming up next, we're going to close this thing out. I got to give a video game review of something that's been traumatizing me lately.
Wait.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Were you... Hold on. So wait, what video game?
I'll tell you on the other side, Sammy. And then we have an epic conclusion to the 858 story on the text line that I know YouTube chat needs to hear.
The YouTube chat's clamoring for it. This story is getting juicier and juicier. I don't know how much of it's real, but if it is real, it's a wild story.
I think it's real. I think that we have a crazy person on our text line, and we love you, 858.
Don't call the 858 crazy.
You're right. I don't want him coming here. 858, we love you. If you want a studio tour, Sammy will give it to you for free. Completely free.
Hell yeah.
San Diego Sports 760.
John
Quick break.
wants the end of the story.
The conclusion to the story coming up next, live on the iHeartRadio app. Well, here we go, 858. There's no looking back now. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you. We're almost done with the show today. We're going to squeeze this in. We got a text earlier. We were talking about the most heartbreaking ways for a season to end. And we were talking about the North Carolina Villanova game back in 2016, the Chris Jenkins shot. We were talking about the Mariners loss to the Blue Jays in Game 7 just last week. And the 858 brought up the 2019 Saints-Rams NFC Championship game where the pass interference happened and it set the NFL on fire. Rules got changed because of that game. Well, the 858 texted in and said, man, I don't think I could handle watching the Saints lose a Super Bowl game. The damage from the NFC Championship no-call pass interference cost me my job, my girl, and I'm not allowed within 1,000 feet of the Vinovich family who just so happens to live in North County. Who dat? Big Saints fan. 858 says, I quit my job right on the spot. My girl got mad at me, so I told her off and I took off with my cat. I was watching the game at work.
Why did you have your cat with you at work?
I think it was after he got home from work, I'm guessing. He and his girl got in some sort of argument because he quit his game over an NFL game. 858 continues to say, read all of this. I worked at a grocery store's meat department. I trashed the sausage rack, threw all the knives into the wall, and then walked out without telling anyone. I believe they call that a crash out.
Yeah, that is the definition of a crash out.
858, I appreciate your fandom. It's for guys like you, and I'm being dead serious right now. I'm not BSing you. That's the reason I love sports, because you can get that invested into something.
Throwing knives at the wall.
At your job. I also quit my job because of a sporting event. The Masters where Tiger came back, my boss was getting mad. I was actually working at a restaurant here in San Diego. My boss, I was literally had a broken knee or a multiple strained ligaments. And I was in the back rolling napkins and he got pissed because I was watching the Masters. I was like, this is a once in a lifetime moment. We're seeing Tiger complete history right now. I'm watching this.
I think the most important thing about this that's not being talked about enough is that, so he threw knives at the wall, trashed the sausage rack, but he still quit. They didn't fire him.
I would assume.
So this grocery store that we're not going to name.
I would assume him walking out was him quitting.
Listen, I don't know what kind of management we got at this grocery store, but a lot of leeway.
Chaos, absolute chaos. All right. Speaking of chaos, I started playing this video game called Ready or Not with a bunch of my college buddies. Have you ever heard of this game, Sammy?
No.
It is the most stressful, inducing game I've ever witnessed in my life. You're part of a SWAT team and you're going into like real life situations. You die in this game, you're done. It's over. The mission's done. You don't get to do it again.
Call of Duty when the 6v6,
dude. Pure chaos. If you have a group of friends you like to play games with, we've played probably an hour each of the last few nights. And when I tell you that this game has had like an impact on my life to the point where it keeps me up later at night to where I'm thinking about things. Wait, so what is it? It's like
a search and seizure thing?
No, so it's you are part of this SWAT team. You pick a mission that they have updating in a room, and then you and your buddies go on this mission. And if you die in the mission, you're just done. And there's people waiting around like every corner. It's computers you're playing against. You're not playing against real people, but it's like real life situations. So, and they're very, very, very R-rated and mirroring things that happen in real life.
Okay. I have not heard about this game.
Like there are drug dens you're going into. There are nightclub disasters you're going into. Like it is a problem that this game even exists in the first place.
Ben Fletcher Saturday night.
And the fact that I'm playing this game because I want to continue a relationship with my buddies from college who live in different areas, and I'm thinking that I'm doing a good thing, is having a very negative impact on my life. I don't like it.
How are you sleeping after
Not
that?
Well.
See,
not well.
I had that.
I swear to God, Sammy, I'm having dreams that I'm in this in real life. It is so realistic. It is so terrifying.
I was watching Slow Horses last night, the show on Apple TV, and like I started to have dreams about being like an MI6 operative. I was like, okay, maybe I need to tone down the Slow Horses right before bed.
It's a problem, is what it is. All right, winner between the Mavs and the Spurs.
I think the Spurs get it done tonight.
I do too. Wemby over 20 points?
Yes, I think a big knife. What about you?
I got Wemby going. I don't know what his number's set at. I just kind of set it at 20 myself. I would have Wemby going over 20, and I have the Spurs winning.
615 wants to know what's the name of the game you were talking about?
Ready or Not. It is crazy. There is a single player mode. I haven't played it. I've only played it with like my two buddies from college. I don't know what the single player mode's like, but if it's anything like multiplayer, it's just going to traumatize you.
760 says shout out to the 858 real sports fan.
For sure. For sure.
Shout out to the 858.
Real sports fan. I can't say that I've ever thrown knives after a game, so maybe I need to step up my game.
The crash out.
But I respect it absolutely. If you went on Love Island, the camera would follow you a lot. 858. All right, we're out of here. John and Jim coming up next. Thank you, everybody. Tomorrow, I'll be in Las Vegas, still doing this show. I'll have a report on how much money I'm up or down coming up tomorrow. See ya.